say big up to the steady family and all viewers.
Yeah, man. Welcome back to the Steady Show.
Everybody, welcome to the
One house of vibes.
show. Me say
Big up to all the Jamaicans out there,
welcome everybody,
and
welcome every day.
big up to the diaspora of here. So, Minister Jap actually got shut down on his live yesterday for, I suppose, shaming black men for traveling overseas.
Yeah, man, I
And
say enjoy the show.
anybody who's familiar with Jap knows how Jap gets down, right? So,
Welcome.
as a Jamaican, born and raised in Jamaica, everybody knows that it is the privileged ones who get the chance to travel to the US and other first world countries, so to speak. And of course, we need a visa to be able to do that. Now, in the American context, if you were born American, I believe you can travel to perhaps about 94 countries, right? So I'm looking at myself, right? Born poor, didn't come from privilege or anything like that. I've traveled 5 countries before. Had it not been for COVID-19, I would definitely be traveling specifically by cruising and so on. So that's a mindset that we would never be able to understand. But I'm aware that some of the fights that I see happening on the black landscape as it relates to relationships, I realize that many of the problems that a black man in the US would face are necessarily the same as in the Caribbean would face, or a black man in the Caribbean. And so I remember a couple of weeks ago I compiled a list for a show that I would do. So I'm going to go through a couple of things, right? So interestingly, on the Jap response, I saw people saying, oh, some people are hating on guys who travel simply because they can't travel themselves due to the fact that they are on child support. We don't deal with that kind of problem in Jamaica. I know many men would not wish to get to that point either, where they're not able to travel on a passport or a visa due to the fact that they do not pay their child support, or they're behind, or stuff like that. In the Caribbean, a college educated woman is not going to, many college educated women are not going to have any hang-ups about, dating or marrying men who didn't go to college. As long as the man is earning, it's good. You understand me? She will work with that man as long as he's able to provide for his family. We don't change cars like as often as people in the US would do, like maybe every 3 years. We would keep a car for 7 years, 8 years, or even longer. The child support policies are not that stringent. The divorce policies, yes, 50-50 are the divorce laws, 50-50%. And so on. Men don't pay alimony after divorces, and so on. Your average Caribbean girl is domesticated, like she will see it as her duty or her responsibility to wash, cook, and clean for her man or her husband. So we guys from the Caribbean, and I can speak for Jamaica, we're very lucky in that regard, right? So to hear about married women saying that they can't cook. Stuff like that is all where I come from. What other issue do we have out there? So, yeah, as it relates to why would you be in? Why would you have so many limitations, though, in the United States or wherever you're from, and not look beyond that region to find what is ideal for you? Here in the States, I didn't marry a woman from the States, right? And that was a very calculated decision, because having read and seen so many videos about these very urgent issues as it relates to men not being able to see their children and so on, I couldn't deal with a situation where I come over here, I marry a woman, that marriage goes sour, she goes to court, she puts in a blame, or she puts in accusations on you, you're not able to see your child or your children, visitation rights are non-existent or very limited. We're not able to deal with that. So, while I understand that as a man to have able to deal with women, you really need skills. And if the argument, if you're not able to get women in the US, you probably would not be able to do it overseas either. I couldn't agree with that. In that, it really comes down to, I guess, a man's threat level sometimes. That you feel like you can be seriously burned around women in the US, then why take the chance? Also, I've seen a lot of arguments whereby there are many men saying, do not wish to be the father to other men's children, and who can blame them? Who can really blame them for taking that kind of stand? I heard on a follow-up show where someone calling, they traveled to Brazil because of the culture and so on, and Jab pretty much shut him down and said, you know what, you're not going to fool me. And be that as it may, true or not, believe that men should try to travel outside of their country to see different things and to get new experiences and a wider view of the world, and not just stay in your corner. For instance, where I come from in Jamaica, we don't have states. It's a very small place, right? But we have what is parishes, and I've seen every single parish. I've gone everywhere in the country. For many parishes, I've been there multiple times, and that is because it's just very important that you try to explore different things. So I'm sorry, but I'm rolling with the guys who would opt to travel, right? And that is because it increases your knowledge and it expands your horizon, so to speak. And you never know what possibilities lie ahead where that is concerned. But so this is really my view on the situation. And I also have to say shout out to a lot of the black men that are now speaking out. A lot of the issues I'm hearing, a lot of what black men are saying, what black women are saying. For me, I try to deal with things on a fair and balanced basis. As I said, and as I said before, a lot of that has to do with my own culture. Like, I know some very wonderful ladies, right, who have just as much of the characteristics as many men would describe, but they're from my country. Our situation is very, very unique. So, from that standpoint, I can say kudos to our Jamaican, kudos to many of our Jamaican ladies who hold the men down. Not to say we don't have our own issues. As a matter of fact, of all the wonderful qualities I was listing about Jamaican women, I also have one in which, some time ago, a guy told me that he has 8 baby mamas and he was still seeing all of his baby mamas. So, for that reason, it can't be cool. So, I guess everywhere has its advantages and disadvantages. But men, get your passport and travel. This is a steady show. This is my take on the issue. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.